My fantasy comic that I've been working on for a decade just came out 4 days ago, and today I want to have a real talk about what are my plans for the next year and beyond for the series and for my art in general. To do this properly, I unfortunately have to reveal how ambitious I am and how delulu I am about my comic. So if I achieve this goal, we can use this video as a good record, and if I don't achieve my goals, we can use this video to laugh at me later. The thing is, with this story is that I always knew that I'm creating something that is big, and I'm pretty aware that I'm like totally nobody. But working on the story, I always knew, like, I'm not writing just the story that I'm doing for my own pleasure. I always had a feeling that I'm working on a story that will be known, that will have some sort of an impact. I'm not saying that it's gonna be genius, that it's gonna be the best thing ever created, but I always felt like it's gonna be some sort of an impactful story in general, the story that will be known. Whether or not the story will be known for the plot itself, or it could simply because I'm doing something a little new with the way I'm drawing my comic, putting in an unreasonable amount of art in each panel. I call it unreasonable because then it takes a very long time to create a page. It's not practical to make comics like this, but I want to create comics like this. I want every panel of my comic to feel like a movie frame. In any case, I always had this vision for my comic, and every time I sat down to draw my comic, I showed up as if this is what I'm creating. So I would always put like 120% of my energy in there. I think if you're working on something for over a decade and you work on panels for your comic every day for this amount of time, you have to be a little bit delulu. So now that this comic is officially published, meaning it has a physical form, I have two things that I will be focusing on for the next year in 2026. First one is working on chapter 2 and chapter 3. These chapters will be coming out next year in June and in December. My story is not limited to chapter 1. It will take approximately 70 chapters to tell, so I better keep going. The second thing I will be focusing on is spreading the word about my comic, getting into places where readers are, getting people to read it, getting people to talk about it, getting people to honestly review it and say what they think. That seems to be the harder part of the two because it doesn't depend solely on me. It depends on other people. It depends on the system that I will have to interact with, like publishing and distribution and bookstores. And I understand that I'm indie, so that means I have a little bit of a limited options with distribution. And that thing, I will have to get the book to the reviewers. I will have to submit potentially my comic to some sort of awards to get more visibility. I'll have to get the book in the bookstore. I'll go in person to every bookstore in the country if I have to. The country is Canada, so the list of the bookstores is a little shorter. I don't need my comic to become famous tomorrow. It's a long game, but I will play it.